Hello, people. This is Mike Jr. II. Welcome to On the Mic, a program, or not really a program, but something, if you will, where I just talk about what I want to talk about. It's something I've been thinking about making for a while now. I've made some stuff in the past, and I've never really had the courage or anything to actually go into it to actually make something. I don't know what I'm going to do with this series just yet. I don't know if I'm going to be putting gameplay footage in the background at all, or if I'm just going to keep it to audio only. I don't really want to call this a podcast, but if people really do want to have the audio files for this, please feel free to say so. I'll try to get up something like an audio file for each individual one so people can listen to in their own time, whatever. But this isn't a podcast. I just want to make that clear. It's not going to be something where I talk about multiple topics all the time, but for most of the time I just stick to a single topic. So after, kind of funny that, I'm making all the infamous stuff that I am, even though a lot of this information has been out for a while, with Infamous Second Son, it's kind of funny that I'm doing my Infamous series now. So, hopefully that gets more people to watch my channel, though I do apologize for my Infamous 2 quality for the videos. At first I thought they looked really good, but YouTube compression fucked them up. The format I was using, I thought worked pretty damn well, but for whatever reason, it's not working well on YouTube. I did well for Infamous 1, but for Infamous 2, not so well. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully you guys can still enjoy it. Good luck with that. I hope you guys still enjoy the series. I hope you at least enjoy my commentary enough where you don't care that the quality isn't as good. But I do apologize. I wish I could have made it look good, because Infamous 2 is a very beautiful game for its time. So 2011, that's 2 years ago. But I am done recording that. I actually just finished the story mode of Festival of Blood today, so get ready to see that in October. At first I was worried about Festival of Blood. I'm like, oh god, I barely had 7 videos, I think it was. 2 of them being, mess around videos. So, I'm going to be doing more for UGC stuff, but just wanted to get that out ahead of time. But, no, today I want to talk about Infamous Second Son for the PlayStation 4. I've wanted to talk about this for a while now, but I never really got to a point that I knew I was going to do well at it. I never even got to a point that I was going to talk about it, because I just didn't know what kind of format I wanted to use. I didn't know if I wanted to do a video of myself, if I just wanted to do audio, if I wanted to do audio with gameplay in the background. I don't fucking know. But finally, I think after I moved my room around, again, I kind of got a good position where I can just stick my mic somewhere and just kick back on my bed or something, or go on my computer, which I do mean to do right now. And, I totally forgot to upload this. To start up my other recording program, because I record 2 programs at once to prevent crashing from completely decimating a file. So, but no, I want to talk about Infamous Second Son. So when Infamous Second Son was announced, I was fucking stoked. I was interested in seeing how they were going to go forward with the story, especially considering that they were going with the ending of the good side for Infamous, and Infamous 2, I mean. And if you know what happens, you know that it basically kind of set it up to make it almost impossible to make a sequel. However, somehow they came up with an idea, and I think they're going to find a good way to explain it, but they came up with an idea that they that somehow this is just going to be a spoiler here. You know what, fuck it. This is going to be a spoiler for Infamous. Please ignore the video if you're a fan. If you haven't seen the Infamous stuff, I will, after I'm done with my Let's Play, obviously, you can fuck around how you want. But, spoiler warning right here. I'm giving you 5 seconds. You gone? Come on. Dude, get up off the bed. I know you're listening to this shit. Come on, turn it off. Okay, thank you. Now, jokes aside, so at the end of Infamous 2, the good ending, I won't spoil the bad ending, the good ending basically had it so that, it killed all the conduits in the world, but it also cured everyone of the plague and everything. But basically, at that point, I mean, it showed that anyone in the world, even who had the conduit gene, they never even had superpowers. The conduit gene, they died, sadly. So, it seems like they couldn't go any further with that. But you know what? I think they found a way to do it. So basically, there you at. Going to be looking through this file that I've been posting on for a while now. But on this forum site, and kind of go back to what I was looking at. But, one of the biggest things people are asking is, there's no way they can't come back from this. And you know what? I think they could. It's not that hard to either come up with three bullshit explanations. You could say that, the RFI thing didn't reach, either didn't reach as far as it was supposed to, or it didn't, or people in certain areas, like let's say they were in tinfoil or something, some stupid shit like that. All of a sudden, the conduit gene could still be alive, something like that. Or they could have had it that, basically, I mean, I know this is horrible science-wise, but, not like, I mean, they have time travel, come on. But, basically that, the conduit gene came back evolved. Or, third choice is that the government was experimenting on people and found a way to give them the conduit gene. They got out, and now we have this. So, conduit gene is back in the world, and obviously, basically, the world is, or at least the American government and the era they're in, which the place takes place in Seattle. I'm curious about whether or not it's going to be Seattle or totally not Seattle. And by that I mean it's related, kind of like how New Marais is supposed to be Katrina. So instead of having a hurricane, they had a tsunami for the flood place. But basically, instead of doing that, they if they're going to either stick with Seattle, like literally have Seattle, because they have the Space Needle. But then again, they can have the Space Needle and not have other things. But if it's going to be Seattle or totally not Seattle, and I'm curious about that. But they were apparently the Space Needle was being used as a just a big area for spying on everybody. So it could either mean another kind of quarantine type thing where why can't I think? It could either mean a quarantine where people are not allowed out because of the conduits there, that they set up, or it could be possible that the whole government has turned into a very I forget the name I'm looking for. I don't want to say dictatorship. I think I want to say totalitarian, but basically the government has control. They are spying up your ass. And the initial concept when the game came out was Sucker Punch, which I love their story, so I think they're going to explore this concept beautifully. They're going to make a story based around the idea of should we have safety or freedom more, and they're going to explore that concept. And obviously I think it's going to be obvious the whole safety thing will, being either good or evil could possibly be joining the government to be evil, or freeing, allowing people to be free, because basically conduits are illegal, and they're going to be hunting them down. And I think that'll be a good concept to explore recently, with the whole thing that happened with the Newtown shooting and stuff. People have been asking whether or not we should take guns away or not, and I think, in my personal political opinion, I believe that I believe that freedom is more important than safety, because if you have the freedom to defend yourself, you're going to be more safe, compared to having to wait, having to call the police and wait an hour before they get there. That's my personal opinion. You can differ, but they're definitely going to be going in that avenue, because people who use the quote that they were using, which is Benjamin Franklin. That's a Benjamin Franklin quote. I don't know why, but I thought that was a Volton or whatever it was quote, but no, that's the defend your rights, even if I disagree with you thing. But Benjamin Franklin quote: those who ask for safety, those who give up their liberties over freedom deserve neither. And, that was a quote by Benjamin Franklin, and I agree with that 110%. Obviously, you can't have the freedom to kill people, but, that's the whole non-aggression principle that I live off of. But, I think they're going to explore this concept beautifully. I'm curious about whether or not they're going to do something like with Infamous 1 and 2, do a dual series where, Infamous Second Son's going to be all about basically the concept of just allowing people to be free, but whether or not the main character, Delsin, I think his name is, Delsin Rowe? I'll just call him Rowe. Delsin Rowe. Basically, whether or not he is going to, I think probably the main concept for the first game, if it's going to be like Infamous 1, where they're going to try to keep the ending around the same, and then they're going to transition it into another game where, the endings are different, like for Infamous 2, how the good ending and the bad ending are completely different. And I think it's possible they're going to have it whether, because as we found out now, there are actually more conduits now. And It's pretty fucking interesting. I really like the way they're doing it, and if this is true, and listening to the name of the game, Infamous Second Son. Now, keep in mind, the organization that made the race sphere was called the First Sons. So maybe the Second Son is supposed to talk about a different organization being made. Such as, maybe it's possible that Delsin is going to start a rebel force against the government to basically fight. I don't know why, but I totally sound like I'm a fucking conspiracy nut right now. But if they're going to make a come on, think. But basically, they're going to be making a rebel force against it, and they're going to be called the Second Sons, as a thing for the First Sons. Now, if they do that, they're going to have to find out who the First Sons are, so that might mean that someone's coming back. And one of the girls, because basically, there's a girl that showed, that was showed to be a conduit, and she's voiced by Laura Bailey, I believe, and she's the same person who's done Dende. She did Saints Row 3 and 4, and for Saints 3, I haven't played Saints 4 yet, but I played Saints Row 3, and she was the first voice for the female. She also did Maka in Soul Eater, and I love her voice. I think she's going to be a perfect role. I'm happy she's in my Infamous series. Fuck yeah. I am so happy about that. Yeah. But I think that's going to be the overall story. Either they're going to do something when the Infamous 2 have two completely different endings, and go from there about which one they want to choose. Now, how they chose the good version as the one they wanted to go off of. They looked at the trophy list, which is fucking beautiful ideal. They looked at the trophy list for the good and bad endings. And they saw who chose more. And there were more good endings than they were bad endings. So they thought to themselves, if people decided to be more inherently good than have Cole be good than evil, then they wanted to go off the good ending first. And I kind of like that concept, because obviously, if you're going to be going off of the first time you played. I actually heard someone come up with an interesting idea, though, before the game came out, because a lot of people were like, they need to make an Infamous 3. I was one of them, but I was like a lot of people where I didn't really know what they wanted to do with it. My concept was that they should have went with, spoiler to Infamous 1 here, they should have went with Kessler. Obviously, go back in the past and talk about Cole when he was, beforehand, a lot older. They could give Cole his old voice actor back then, because people complain about Cole's voice actor. I thought it was perfectly fine. That people can go fuck off about that. I thought it had more character, but they could go back. They could have an excuse to use the old voice actor or keep the new one. I don't care. Really just kind of make him seem a little more loudy. Loudy, I mean groggy. And, why am I burping so much? God damn it! I drank soda like an hour ago. But no, they could have done something with Kessler. Go back in the past, find out how he got his time powers. Do like a final fight with the Beast before he loses, and then he decides to go back in time once and for all. Something like that. How explain that more. I heard someone else talk about they should have went off the evil ending and done a multiplayer game, and I was just like, I don't like that idea. Because I just think that's so not Infamous. Maybe for a completely different concept for a game, yeah, but that's just not really an Infamous game. On its own, for a spin-off game, that wouldn't be half bad, but Infamous, spin-off of Infamous, a very odd spin-off, fine, go ahead. No spin-off, yeah, probably not for me. But no, they're going with this concept. I like it. I like that they're going off the good ending because, they have a really good story to explore. And something I should talk about now is that Cole McGrath is not going to be making a return. In one of the articles I was reading, they were talking about how, superhero, because basically, Infamous is basically a superhero comic book type story. It has its melodramatic moments, it has its odd superpowers, its odd logic for stuff, but, it's still fun to watch. And I have to say that a lot of people wasn't happy with the fact that, Cole wasn't going to be coming back. And, they said that they wanted to keep, because the only character in comics books that stay dead is Uncle Ben. And if you don't know, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, because he died to, give Peter purpose, and that's it. Obviously, there are other characters you can probably think of, but more or less, Uncle Ben died, not coming back. That's the point of the character. Kind of thing for Batman's parents, too, though they probably coming back for a little bit. But they probably had something in there somewhere. But it's comic books, what do you expect? But they want to do that for Cole as well, and you know what? I fucking agree with that. Cole McGrath had his story fucking told. Don't ruin the character by forcing a half-assed reason why he's back alive, and don't say just go off the bad ending. That's a stupid idea, because as I've said, that'd be kind of hard to work off of. Keep in mind, you're working off of, Cole trying to go from one place to another. That doesn't make much sense. Because keep in mind, he's trying to cure people of the plague, and you really can't make a game like that, kind of like Infamous 1 and 2. You'd have to completely change the formula, and I say fuck that, because then you might keep the main character, but you're just ruining the main concept of the main series itself by making it so much different. Again, maybe as a spin-off game, but as a main series game, no. And you know what? Cole McGrath, he had a purpose. It was fucking beautiful the way he died. His death had a purpose. He achieved great things, and you know what? In the end, his story was fucking told. Let's keep it that way. Let's not try to force, stories out of someone without reason. I like Delson, not only that, but I like Delson. People, I don't like Delson. Yes, he looks like the generic rebel kid, but you know what? Knowing Sucker Punch, they could probably get a lot out of him. He has his moments. Currently you see the game, it's about him and his brother. His brother basically saves his ass in a lot of situations because he's a conduit. And, Delson's a funny character. The funny thing is, what I find so ironic, Delson's a lot more like what Cole, I think, seemed like he was in Infamous 1. And he didn't really act that way, but in Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Cole had his little moments. But Delson seems like the character that Cole seemed like he was going to be in Infamous 1. He seems like he's the kind of guy who makes his jokes, and because one of the cutscenes, he has this joke where he's basically just like, it's like, yeah, it sucks being a conduit. It's nah, this rocks. It's something that I think Cole probably would have said in the first game. Because I didn't really like Cole's character in the first game that much. Not that it was bad, it was just bland in my opinion, and I think that's kind of what Cole is, which I kind of find ironic. But Delson is a funny character. I think he'll fit very well into the game with his character, and especially with the other conduits around. That's going to be interesting. Now, cool thing they're adding in here now. So basically, if you've seen the game, there's a lot of interesting things going on. Delson has smoke powers. Not the kind of weird smoke powers that Nyx had. Basically, he can transform, kind of like Nyx, but not completely. Instead of having an amp, he has a chain he uses for his melee attack, and he can transform into smoke. He can attack with the smoke. He does a lot of acrobatic stuff, and which is funny because I remember once when we were seeing it at E3, I remember some guy going up and they're showing Infamous Second Son right now. Oh, it's all CGI stuff. No. You don't realize that is in-game graphics right there, motherfucker. That's how Sucker Punch fucking works, and the graphics look amazing. Seriously. I had one of the backgrounds on my desktop for a while, and I just couldn't stop staring at it and go, this is what the game's gonna fucking look like. Oh my god, I can't wait to get my hands on this. I'm probably not going to be getting a PlayStation 4 right away. I'll probably be getting it when Infamous Second Son comes out and get a bundle package. I think that'd be pretty cool. So yeah. But no, I like Delson's character, but the interesting thing was that he seems like he's going to be a hell of a lot more mobile than Cole. Some people were... I was reading a thing where someone was complaining about Cole McGrath in Infamous 2, how he wasn't as mobile as like Prototype, and I'm just like, really? I understand the games are very comparable, but you can't compare the mobility of each character because they're completely different. Alex Mercer can definitely work different than Cole can. For what Cole had, his powers, he worked pretty damn well in terms of being very mobile, I think. Definitely a lot faster than a lot of other sandbox games out there. And, that's one of the big things that Yahtzee gave was that, for the plus for Infamous, was that there's a big city. You can easily get around the big city. Sandbox games suck at that. GTA games, I've had my fair share of issues. Saints Row games. Fuck Saints Row games when it comes to getting somewhere. I fucking hate getting somewhere in Saints Row, especially if you die and you have to go back to the beginning. Infamous doesn't do that. Love that. And it seems like they're expanding more on making Delson a more mobile character. However, they talked about it and they said Delson's powers is more for stealth, more for getting away, And then it turns out in one of the things, he absorbed the energy from the girl. I forgot the girl's name. But the girl, she had some weird powers going on, and at the end of one of the things, he grabbed one of the girls. He kind of grabbed her, and all of a sudden he's like, they switch powers, and basically, from the looks of it, Delsin's powers is either originally smoke or it's not smoke. It's possible that Delsin is actually, his conduit power is absorbing other conduits' powers. Now, I don't know if this is, kind of like how Colmograph did with Quo and Nyx. Now, I don't know if this means he can merge the powers together. From the sound of it, from what they're saying, you can switch between them, which just adds up so many fucking possibilities. And there's also been talk of multiplayer. Because it would kind of make sense. Obviously, Delsin would be a character who, if he can have all these different play styles, kind of like how you push the left directional pad in Infamous 2 to change, special things, you could also do that with switching styles. Make it so that you push left, and then one of the buttons that weren't really used in the game was the L2 button when you did that. So, like, push the left directional pad, push L2 to switch between the conduit's power, between smoke or another power, and then you can do the whole, switch the other things around. Because I hope they keep that upgrading thing. I love that upgrading thing from the first game. If they keep it just normal powers and, still have upgrades and stuff, but just keep it normal powers and have it so that it's just the different conduit powers as the gimmick, that wouldn't be too bad, but I'd love it if they just expanded on second instead of taking some things, adding some things. But Infamous Second Son seems to have it that it might have multiplayer. Now, they said that first and foremost they're doing a single player. Fuck yeah for Sucker Punch for doing that. Don't try to, spread your assets and find out you just made a piece of shit. Make something perfect. See if you can add on to that. Even if it's just a little add-on for multiplayer, that's fine. But don't think you have to perfect it and, mess up the single player for that. I love they're smart about that. They're very smart about that. But at the end of it, though, it looked like Delsin was using electric powers. Now, that was interesting, because it is possible that if he can absorb powers, he can use electric powers like Cole. However, it turns out they weren't electric powers. It's possible, and, the correct term that it was using is that the girl he absorbed energy from, who was voiced by Laura Bailey, is using photokinesis or neon powers, as as Sucker Punch called it. Neon powers basically being light. Now, the funny thing is that they're trying to direct this more at being more... I don't know what they're going to direct this towards, but the thing is, smoke is already a stealth-like power from the sound of it, or it might just be more mobile. Neon, if you find out about it, is basically controlling light. Basically, he sucked light out of a nearby sign, and then it was more of a pinkish-purple kind of power. And, but the whole multiplayer thing, though, that makes me think that him taking sucking up the powers of the conduits isn't going to take them away, necessarily. Maybe it might lower them, but with the whole thing that they're going to be doing possibly multiplayer, that would mean that they would still have some of their powers left. But with that, that's where my second son comes in and the whole rebel organization thing. Basically, Infamous Second Son, Delsin, along with this girl, are going to be joining forces, going to be getting together a group of conduits, and they're going to fight back against the government. And I think the good or bad thing for this could either be he either controls the group with fear being the bad thing, or he does the good thing and, tells them the truth about what needs to be done. And I think that's how the ending of the first game is going to work out, is about whether or not he does it by fear or good, so it kind of can transition easier, whether you played good or bad in the first game. And then in the second or third game, because if they do a second game, they'll probably just do a very simple beginning and a very simple ending, which would kind of suck. But for the third or second game, at the very end, when they finish off this, this series, they're going to have it so that so that Delsin... then they might do a separate ending where he turns out to be something he does is completely jackass, where he controls the government basically, or he becomes a part of or he frees the world and then liberty and shit and whatnot. I hope it's like that. I'd really like that kind of a story. I think. If they do either one, that'd be interesting, especially with the whole NSA stuff working, which is fucking hilarious considering the fact that John White and Lucy Quo were NSA agents. Anyway, I gotta text me. So, yeah. Which I think I find more ironic because, it gives more credence to the point that in Infamous 1 that John was being fucked over, and that the funny thing is that when I was replaying Infamous 1 for the channel, basically, John was talking about how people were going to be using this incident to help reform how the government works and how the country works. And you know what? Considering the fact that, it's actually happening in Infamous Second Son, John White saw the fucking future right there. And I don't know if that's foreshadowing, if they look back on that and they said we should totally do that, but I like seeing that now because it totally fits in and it puts more credence to the point that the NSA is just a bunch of assholes, besides John White and Lucy Quo, a little bit. But yeah, no, it's Infamous Second Son looks great. Definitely going to be getting it when the PlayStation 4 when it comes out for the PlayStation 4. It's not going to my knowledge, it's not going to have a PlayStation 3 release. I'm fine with that. No need to dumb the game down for a PlayStation 3 release just to make it look a little bit more pretty on the PlayStation 4. Stick to the PlayStation 4, baby. I'm going to be getting the console. Gonna fucking love it. Now, some people might be asking, Michael, when it comes out, are you going to do a blind Let's Play? Not going to do a fucking blind Let's Play. Sorry, I know people, with the whole, now that you can record easier on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox, but the Xbox One. Yeah, no, I don't even care how long you can record for. The session seems very dull. I mean, like, seriously, very dull sessions. I'm not looking forward to them. But no, I think that, I don't agree with blind Let's Plays sometimes. Obviously, I think it would work for me, because as I've said before, if a blind Let's Play is, a blind Let's Play, I don't know if I've ever said it before, but, if you have heard me talk about it, I have talked about it. But basically, a blind Let's Play can work if it's about a game series you played for a long-ass time, and, like, not really a long-ass time, but just a series you played, like Infamous. I did UFO Defense because I was a fan of, UFO Defense. Enemy Unknown. For that Let's Play, I did it because I was a fan of the original back in 1994 when I was born. At the same time, though, I thought I didn't have any biased opinions because of nostalgia, because I didn't play the game when I was younger. So I thought I would be a good choice for playing the game firsthand, and then I did a review of it. But for Infamous Second Son, no. Because I want to play the game myself, I want to enjoy it by myself. If I make it like a Let's Play, I might have some issues with it, but more because I'm playing it like a Let's Play than it is because it's either a bad game or a good game. I want to make sure I can see it my own firsthand. So, yeah. So we're going to go down 30 minutes. This has been pretty long. I can't really think of anything else to talk about. It seems like Delsin might be this leader of the group. I don't know. That's my theory, personally. His brother seems to be very, it looked like for a second there he was going to, one of the things he was going to kill the conduit girl, and that's when Delsin jumped in and said something along the lines of, you handle normal people. I get to choose what happens to conduits. And I think that might show some issues between the brothers, because before, at first, it was more or less Zeke hanging out with Cole, which really was just kind of there for the most part for most of the first game. Kind of the same for Trish, except for Trish kind of put forth that, Cole was hated in the world. And I think, and while they didn't do much with it, I will admit, but I don't find that because it's a whole fuck you Sarkeesian for being all like, they killed her for no reason. They killed her just because they give an emotional reaction to people. I just like, they weren't bland. Trish herself wasn't just bland. Both Cole and Trish were bland fucking characters. The only reason Cole might feel a little bit less bland is just because he's the main fucking character. And I feel like they're gonna do this a lot better with the two brothers, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think it'll be. I think Infamous Second Son will be a fun game, definitely. Even if it turns out that the game is just a piece of horseshit, I'll still play the game. I'll find some enjoyment out of the story. At the very least, the graphics look fucking amazing, and I know at the very least, I'm gonna enjoy that. The gameplay looks fun. Something I keep forgetting to note is that the smoke powers, as I've said, seem more mobile. One of the scenes I remember seeing was that kind of like how Cole would in Infamous 2 would grab onto one of the electric poles and jump up into the air. They have this thing where basically Delsin can go through a vent and come out the top of the building, which makes him seem more mobile and stealthy. But with the whole neon powers, photokinesis, they could turn it into... obviously they can do little things to make it, but I don't know if it can be that damaging. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of powers he's going to get also, because I doubt those two are going to be it. But the whole playstyle changes and stuff, it's really going to make Infamous Second Son a very widespread game. However, there might be some issues about balancing out which powers are going to be better than others. Obviously, some are going to be better in combat, but does that mean that means we're going to have some moments where Delsin's low, or he's like has some heavy power that, you know, like an earth power or something that's hard for him to move around in, and then he's going to have to switch. And, you know, more than likely, there might be different bars of energy, too. You know, Delsin might need to be, because apparently, I haven't talked about this either, there's touchpad controls for this game, and I don't exactly know how I feel about them yet. I haven't played with them, as long as they're not too gimmicky. Here's the thing. You know, a game can only be monotonous if it's boring or a pain in the ass. If it's fun to do, even if you do it over and over again, it's not that bad. And it seems like that's how Delsin's gonna get his smoke powers to work in this game. And from the looks of it, it might be that they have to absorb different cores, meaning that you have to take energy out of. You know, I don't know this personally. He might just be able to, because remember, in Infamous 2, whether you got Ice or Nyx's or Quo's powers, it still cost electricity cores. Or battery cores. But for Infamous Second Son, they could mess with that and have it so that it was kind of like Festival of Blood, where to use the vampire power, you needed blood. Here, they might make it so that you need to absorb the neon power, as we saw him absorbing to use the neon powers, and absorb smoke to have smoke powers. So, you know, that's... they could do a lot of stuff with it, and I'm personally looking forward to it. I don't think I have anything else to say, guys. I've waited a while to talk about this, and, you know, I'm kind of happy I did. Hope you enjoyed this first episode of On the Mic. I swear to God, this shit better not be fucking up on me. It probably will, too. But I do hope you guys have enjoyed, you know, this On the Mic. Tell me if you like this program or not. Tell me if you'd like me to post the media files of these so you could treat it somewhat like a podcast. You know, I don't care. But I hope you guys have enjoyed. I will catch you in the next episode. This is Mike Jr. II, signing out.